Hey there, y'all. Radar here. I was just doing a quick follow up to that turkey hunt we did yesterday because we posted quite a few videos on it, and it was an awesome hunt. It was opening day. The gal I took, her and her husband's a friend that I met down at the river bottom hunting down there, and he's a heck of a hunter, and he's young and 26 years old, but he'd never turkey hunted, and his wife Janelle wanted to learn how to hunt. So Janelle, to pronounce it correctly, Janelle, she's been wanting to hunt. And she shot a few ground squirrels and stuff, but she never big game hunted or anything. So he asked me if I'd take her out and call her a bird. So I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. So that was a first for me. I've never taken a woman who was 9 months pregnant, about ready to drop, and we were hoping we wouldn't have to deliver a baby in the turkey blind, but we didn't, and it went really well. But on those videos, some people asked questions about some stuff, and I thought I'd cover it real quick. So first of all, when we got there, there were a lot of people there. Over the years here in Idaho, 10 years ago, not many people turkey hunted. So it's a good thing that more people are getting out and enjoying the sport, but it also makes it tough when you go out to your favorite spot you've been at for, over a decade, and instead of just me being there, maybe one other guy that there's 5 trucks there. But we still go hunt because a lot of those guys in Idaho, and I don't understand this. When I got here, I thought it was funny. They chase those birds. They'll go listen for them, figure out which way they're going, and they'll run through the mountains trying to get ahead of them. And, hey, I'm too old and fat to do that, and I was raised calling turkeys. So my granddad, like I said in other videos, made me call my first bird in. I was raised on an 11,000-acre ranch in Kenansville. We didn't live out there full time, but that was my granddad's place, and he was a bird hunter. So we took good care of our turkeys and took excellent, care of our quail, bobwhite quail out there. So he wouldn't let me just go shoot a bird. When I was a kid, I shot my first deer when I was 6, shot a hog when I think I was like 5 or something. But I couldn't kill a turkey until I was old enough to call it in. Like, he made me call it in and do it right. And so I started hunting them younger, but I couldn't get the calling right. Until after I finally shot one and everything went right. And they're tough, and even on private property. So anyhow, we got out there. There's a bunch of people there. We got there just a touch late. I like to be out putting the decoys out, before daylight with flashlights. But we got a little bit late because, again, Janelle's 9 months pregnant, and I just had 2 hips replaced. The last one was 3 weeks ago. So we got up the mountain okay and got in there, but we weren't running. Anyhow, there was a bird in a tree, gobbler down below us that was talking. But there also were some people out there. There was one guy who, before daylight, like before it was even getting light, was just out there yelping. I mean, he just kept going. And I was like, okay, well, that probably ain't going to help. And then we got set up and got the decoy set up, got in there. There were 2 guys below us. And they could call pretty good, but they still weren't doing quite the right calls for the time of the day it was, because the birds hadn't even come out of the tree yet. But that's all right, And again, I'm not faulting them. It's just, it's just the way it is. So that gobbler, when he was talking to the tree, I tried 2 or 3 different calls, and he really liked one. So I thought, well, I'm not going to call him to those guys because he would have had to walk right through them. That was really thick down there. So, he may have walked by him or not. But, I don't mind helping people if they're sitting in my blind, but I'm not going to help people that I'm kind of competing with to kill a turkey, especially since this hunt was the only time Janelle could go. She's 9 months pregnant. We're on a time frame here. The weather's getting bad again tomorrow. So we thought, we got to kind of make this happen. So anyway, I shut up for a little while, just kind of listened to what was going on, and there were several gobblers. There was 3 jakes up a draw, a couple other turkeys we couldn't tell what they were, but they were, gobbling. So we probably had about 7 gobblers around us, except for where we'd come in from. There were turkeys around us, and I thought, if anything else, we'll let these other guys get out of the way. And I was actually kind of hoping one of them would shoot down there just to get the bird out of the way and then go, because once they get out of there, I could do my thing. So anyway, they worked around down there because I could tell the difference between them, and there was actually a group of hens to the right below us, and then there was the one tom that I think we ended up shooting, and then there was another couple birds up the draw. So what happened was those guys kind of called and moved around, but that gobbler wasn't answering them. And again, I wasn't calling. I was kind of listening to see what that. Plus, we had hens probably 60 yards away from us to our right and below us, but you can't see them. It's too thick outside my clearing, but I could hear them putting, and it was actual hens. It wasn't 2 guys with box calls. So anyway, I figured those hens will keep him busy. Well, the gobbler came out of the tree, and we heard him get out of the tree because he hit the ground and gobbled a couple times, and then he shut up. So I figured he either had henned up with some hens that were down there, or those guys had messed him up, because I could hear them calling, but I couldn't hear. I didn't have my Walker game ears, so I couldn't tell what they were doing. Anyhow, so that gobbler shut up. Everything kind of shut up. And I didn't have, with three of us in the blind, I couldn't lean over and talk to Devin and give as much instruction as I would have liked to have. But I was kind of telling Janelle what was going on. So we're just going to sit here because the woods are quiet. Let's be quiet. Let's just see what happens. So there's an occasional gobble. And our shooting light started yesterday at 6:15. And we shot that bird at 7:55 a.m. So, because you can hunt in Idaho all day till dark. And I usually don't do it. We're usually out of there about 1 o'clock. But so anyhow, those guys moved down, and there was another gobbler that it sounded like it was across the highway, and they kind of played around, but I don't know if they spooked that bird. I don't know what went on down there because they never came back up by us. So they moved out of there. Well, then that gobbler moved to our right, so I called with the diaphragm call that he was really liking, and he answered me. And so this is one of the first things I want to talk about was, because I'm going to give a little instruction here. You'll watch a lot of people talk about turkey hunting, and they'll say, if a gobbler's talking to you and he's coming, shut up. Well, why would you shut up? I mean, unless you can't call well, then maybe, yeah, keep him coming and just do some yelps if that's all you've got in your repertoire, which is fine, because if you're learning turkey hunt, you could probably just do yelps. And yelping, if you can do that, that's a yelp. You can call in a bird. That's how I called in my first bird. My granddad, when I was about 8, handed me this box, and he said, you go, that'll just do that. And you'll hear the bird coming, and just keep doing that. And if you don't hear anything, wait 10 minutes and do it again. That's how I was taught to call turkeys to start with, because he wanted me to go out and have the patience. And, he couldn't teach me all this. We didn't have videos and all that, and to sit down. And, he showed me some of the other stuff, but it was too much. There's too many mistakes you can make with some of the other calls. A box call and a yelp call work. So I yelped with the one diaphragm that he was liking in the tree, and sure enough, he sounded off. So I kept talking to him, and I figured maybe he'd gotten with the hens that we had heard. And if you get a bird, especially on a season like this, henned up, he probably isn't coming out of it. You might get a great Jake that's with him to get out of there. But anyhow, so I kept talking to that bird, and then he shut up. And I kept talking, because you got to understand, I have 4 hens, standing hens, in my decoy spread. I've got 1 hen that's, down squatted to breed. I have a tom that I change tails in, so it could be a Jake or it could be a good-sized tom, and I can adjust the beard. Y'all have seen them. And then I have a funky chicken. And so I've got a great spread. And so if you've ever sat around a bunch of turkeys and you're that close to them, which I did a lot when I was a kid growing up and out at my granddad's place, and even out here, I'll go sit and just listen to birds. They're talking. It's just like a bunch of people. You're not going to have 20 people sitting in a room and them just sitting there. I mean, unless it's church, and they're listening to a sermon, they're chattering a little bit. And so that's what I do. And when you watch those videos, if you like and subscribe, you can go back and watch those videos, or I think you can go watch them anyway, but it'd be nice if y'all like and subscribe for me. But you go watch those videos, you'll hear that it sounds loud, but I'm actually got the phone in my hand because I wanted to film this hunt because of Janelle killing this bird, it being her first bird, and her husband was also trying to film it. So we got some pretty good video of it. So anyhow, I was talking, and he wasn't saying a whole lot, but I kept just kind of putting and purring and, cackling and kiki runs and just little things that the turkeys do when they're mulling around like that feeding. And so sure enough, we looked up, and here he comes. And he was already about to go into a strut when he was coming out of the trees, because it's really thick around there. And Janelle actually saw him first. I thought I saw some movement, but I was looking over to the right because there was another gobbler that was over raising cane, and he was coming in too. So, and the other one that we ended up shooting had shut up. So I was kind of working that bird, but I was still being real calm because I didn't know where that gobbler ended up shooting, what he was doing. So we look up and we see him coming in. He hits a strut. You could go watch the video, and the rest of it's on the video, so I'm not going to explain everything that happened. But she ends up shooting that bird, and we went out. And in that's another thing I want to tell you. You're going to hear me tell him to go get on that bird. Now, I was taught that when those birds go down, you go get on them, because in Florida and like where we're hunting down here, it's thick. And you could take a turkey's head off, and you've heard of a chicken running around with its head cut off. Well, guess what? Turkey will do the same thing. When they bail off into that stuff, they can bury themselves under some stuff, and it is hard to find them. So when I shoot a bird up here, I go get out there and get on him. Now, if he's flapping around, I try not to grab a hold of him and get spurred, because I've had that happen when I was a kid, and they'll cut the heck out of you. But at least get your foot on a wing or something so they can't take off on you. And if you have to, when they kind of calm down a little bit, if you have to wring their neck, do whatever you got to do. But go get on that bird so that way you don't lose that bird. Because if they get out in that stuff, I've had to go get a dog to come back to go find a bird I shot. It wasn't, 60 yards away from me. But in that thick stuff, it's just harder than heck to find them, especially in Florida. So anyhow, go get on the bird after you shoot it. So the other thing I do is I let the bird dictate what's going on. If I'm yelping or talking, and like say I do a yelp and a couple kiki runs and that gobbler answers me, I'm going to keep doing it. Whatever he's answering, I'm going to keep doing until he's standing in front of me. Now, I will tone it down when he gets closer and start putting other calls in to sound like a group of hens, because I do have the decoys out. But even when I don't use decoys, I do the same thing because it sounds like a bunch of turkeys. And so anyhow, I wanted to kind of let you guys know that if you let the bird dictate what's going on, if he's gobbling all like crazy and he's answering it, and keep doing it. If he's not gobbling much, whatever he's answering to you, because remember, you're not calling him in. He's trying to call the hen to him. So he thinks you're coming to him. But if you keep it up long enough, some of them will just come running in because they don't have any hens around them and they're trying to get in a group of hens. But a lot of times if they hang up, it's because they're waiting for you to come to them. You just got to make it sound like you're not coming. Or tilt your head with the diaphragm call, or with this, put the box behind you. Or I've gotten out of the blind and started to walk away and called, because then they think the hen's leaving. Well, then they might come up and run on in, and then you got a shot at them. So you got to let the bird dictate what's going on. There's 1,000 videos out there on how to call turkeys. So you can go, I'm not going to go through all the calls, and they'll call it a putt, a purr, they'll call it whatever. Go practice. That's the best thing you can do is practice. I saw where somebody recently was talking about decoys and how they want to ban decoys and ban fans and all that stuff. I called birds forever without decoys because we didn't have them when I was a kid growing up. And when they finally did get them, they were too dang expensive. So I didn't start using turkey decoys till after the year 2000 or so. But it's easier when you're hunting with people, especially kids, to use decoys and get them set up on it. And it'll help you too because they're not concentrating on you. I had 3 people in the blind yesterday. So everybody getting ready to shoot and talking and trying to under their breath telling her what to do in that. They're going to see that movement, but they're focused on that. That gobbler was focused on that big tom. He could care less about what we were doing. And they actually expect to see a little bit of movement. So other than your whole face being up and you doing this, if your hand moves or something, they're kind of looking for some movement. And those big toms and even the jakes will be concentrated on those decoys so much that they just think you're another turkey up there under that blind, and they just see a hand move over the blind or something, or even if you're just sitting in a tree, they just think it's another bird, unless you do something stupid. So anyway, I have nothing wrong with decoys, and they sure help, but get yourself one of these Lynch's box calls. They're not cheap, but they will last you forever. Like I said in another video, that my granddad gave me this, and he got it from ML Lynch himself because they were buddies. So this call, I'm 61, and it's older than I am. And it's still in excellent shape. And but you can buy these things. They're about $70, but you'll pass it down to your grandkids if you take care of it. So I just wanted to kind of do this video real quick today and get it posted. I'm not editing it or anything. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it up to kind of explain what happened. But Janelle did an awesome job. She dropped it with that 410. One last thing is you'll see it's still in a strut when she shot it. Now, normally, if it's a guy or somebody that has killed turkeys before, I'll do a real loud putt, like it's an excited, just a pop, and I can't, it's, and every one of their heads will come up, and then she could have shot it, but it was her first bird, her first hunt, and we had everything was going right. I just want to make sure she shot that bird. She did. She dropped it dead. So go check out those other videos if you would. If you got any questions, ask in the comments. I know I was kind of talking fast through this, but I want to try and keep it under 15 minutes, and we're right there. So if you got any questions, suggestions, or something you want to know, just put it in there and I'll answer them. I'm an old man sitting at the house. I'm not going back turkey hunting to take some more kids out this weekend, see if we can get another bird if the weather cooperates. But anyhow, y'all have a really good day. God bless you. Y'all be safe out there during turkey season because, like I say, don't wear red. If you see somebody walking into your decoys or you see somebody walking up into you, you holler, "Don't shoot," as loud as you can, because there's not a turkey on the planet that's worth you getting your face taken out or dying for, because people will come in, especially with decoys, and I've had it happen, and they'll walk in and shoot the decoy. So I try and set them up to where I'm not sitting right behind the decoy, but you don't know what direction these people are going to come in from. So just be really safe out there. God bless y'all. And again, if you got any questions or anything, just get back with me and we'll answer it. Have a good day.